All right, so when we last left off, we basically got to this point here. So we made a basic site with something like this. So you should have something really roughly written. You should have this for your functions, where we just basically load up Bootstrap's stuff, your fonts, and the font awesome, as well as your own style sheet. And then in index, we started just writing out basic kind of a template of what you would want it to look like. We will adjust this a little bit this time too. And you might have some style in here that will probably also have some stuff done to it. But now what I want to do is be a little bit more practical with what we're actually going to build here. So normally if you look at a site, like if we look at my site, you'll see that you usually have a header and a footer that's pretty consistent. So if I go to like any one of my pages here, and you'll see I always have this top here, okay, as well as this part here, but we'll just concentrate on this. So there's always a nav bar at the top, and my bottom always has this section down here, okay? So it'd be nice to have something like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a single page that's going to basically run that when you have your sub pages, it will use that as the template. Right now, this one's written right in the index, I believe. Yeah, right in index, which this is for our home page, but it's not for our every page. Okay, so we need something for the everyman. Okay, so to do that, what we're going to do is I'm going to go to, so I have the site already loaded up. I'm just going to go ahead and reveal in Finder. And then here it is here. So I go to apps, right? So this one's called Cone Site. And then we're going to go to content and then themes. And I have this theme here. And I'm actually going to close out of these and open them up as a folder because it's a little bit easier to work with. So not you either. Here we go. So I'm just going to take this whole folder. I'm just going to drop it in here. There we go. And so now I have this cone theme folder and I have my stuff in here. Okay. Awesome. So what we are going to do from there is basically add something that's going to represent our page. So whenever we have a page. So to do that, we're just going to go ahead and add one in here. So inside this cone theme section, you can see we can click on this to make a new file, and we're just going to call it page.php. Okay, so just like when you go to a website and it knows that if you push on if you go to a website, it automatically opens up index because just the computer knows that. WordPress will know that page.php is your template to make your stuff. Okay, so we need to add some things in here. So what we're gonna do is we're going to put a bit of code in here that's going to represent, basically to put our content and things in there, okay? So all we're going to do is we're going to go into PHP, so PHP, all right, tab. Then we're going to say while, and we're going to say have posts, meaning while there are things written, while we have posts done. So while this is true, while there are still posts, I'm going to have it run this code. We're going to run the post. Okay. Then inside of that, we're going to go ahead and close that. So basically for each one of these posts, this is the part I need to be PHP. Now I'm going to put in some HTML so that we can see that functioning correctly. So I'm just going to do an H2. And say this is a page. Okay, this is just a start so we can see that it's working. All right, and then now that's just going to be a title. We're going to take that out eventually. The part I do care about is this. I want to do H2. Okay, so but I want it to be the title of the page. So whenever you make a page in WordPress, right? So if I go here and let's go not to post pages. And I have a sample page, right? The title is this right here. So I want that to show up. So that's what I'm writing here. So I want the H2 to be, actually, in fact, let's just take this out. I don't even need that. So we're just going to go H2. And I want this to be PHP. So we're going to go ahead and go PHP. All right. And then we're going to use the thing that says the title. Okay. And what that does is that this is going to echo out the title, which means it's going to write the title for us. Okay. That's a, oops, I already put that there. It's a function. And then like that. So that goes in PHP, and then I'll put a space in there just to make it a little bit more obvious that these are separate. And then we'll just close the H2. Okay. So now it's going to make an H2 that's going to say the title of that page. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and do a PHP that's going to be the content. Okay. The content. Like that. And then what I'm going to do is go ahead and do the ending of this. Oops, not that one. The ending of this loop. Okay, so PHP, and then I just need to close this out, and then go. Why does? Oh, apparently I already closed it out. Okay, and then oops, not this, and then close the PHP. All right, and then we're just going to go ahead and save that. And then inside of this, I'm just going to go to my pages. So just to make sure I hit Command S, all right, or Control S, or you just do File Save. Not you. There's too many things in here. Okay, so I'm just going to make a new page. I'm going to add new, and we'll just call it, I don't know, let's get out of there. I'm just going to call it my first page. Say, I'm just going to put some lipsum in there. Lipsum.com. Put some lorem ipsum in there. I'm just gonna. Okay, I clicked on generate. There it goes. Okay. Command C, and here we go. And I'm just gonna paste that in here. Command V, and I'm just gonna go ahead and publish that, just so I have a page. Yours obviously will be a little bit different. Yay! Now what we're gonna do is let's go ahead and view the page, and there you go. So it says my first page and lorem ipsum, and just to further get the idea that this is working, let's just go ahead and put like I'm just gonna, don't do this, I'm just showing you H2, oops, H2. Let's put this is a thing spelled wrong apparently. H2. Okay, Command S, and then if we go back here and Command R, there you go. So you can see that this is indeed running that page. Okay, so I'm just take this back out. All right, so now that will do what we want. It's going to take whatever title we put in when we're in WordPress, whatever title we put into WordPress in here, right? And then was Command R to, I must not have saved it yet. Command S, Command R. All right, I don't know what's going on there, but file save. There it goes. Okay. So it'll make it an H2. So if for some reason you wanted the title to not be, or you want to not have the title at all in there, you can take that out. Just take this part out. Or if you want to format it differently, this is how you would do it. So you could add a special class to this, right? So I could do like, let's do a class equals, and I will call this like page titles. Okay. And then when I want to affect this, I'm just going to save that. I can go to my styles, and I could do dot page titles, and then I'm just going to go ahead and make sure I get it. So I'm going to do H2 as well, like that, right? And then tab, and I'll just say like color, oops, not capital, color. I'll just say red, okay, like that. And then when I go in here, you can see it didn't work. I might have to do a better job of page titles. Did I spell that right? Let me see. Page titles, Command S, Command R. I feel like this is getting annoying. I'll move that out of the way. I don't really need that right at the moment. But anyway, you could put a special class on it and then access it that way. Okay. So that's the basics of our page. So that's going to be the template. So just like you did with index, you put basically the same thing inside of here. Kind of inside of here, all right? But this is going to load in our content and our title for us. So that is good. So that's page. Now, the thing I would also want to have on this is a header and a footer that's consistent for all of them. Now, rather than trying to write it in here, on each and every page and on the index and stuff too, what we can do is make a header PHP and a footer PHP and then load them in here, okay? So that's what we're going to do now, okay? So we're going to do the same thing here. I'm just going to go ahead and make a new sheet. We're going to call it header.php, okay? And now we have a header. And it's going to be written somewhat similar to the previous thing. So this is meant to be the head of each of my pages. So this needs to have all the stuff we would normally have in HTML. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do the doc type HTML. Okay, and then you always do HTML, right? And then we're not going to close HTML because we're opening it up. But then basically what we're going to do is we're making a sandwich. This is going to be the first part of the page, so it'll show up here. Then it will continue on, and then after that, it will play this part of the page, and then we'll also have one called footer, and at the end, it will play that, okay? So we actually only need to open things up. We don't actually close them, because this is almost just the first half, or the first third of our sandwich, okay? So that's basically what we need to do. So then if you remember, normally when we make a site, right, we have a head. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and close that head, which apparently it didn't, oops, want to help me out there. So let's go ahead and close that head. All right, and then we have the body, right, body. And again, I'm not going to close the body because that's going to be, what's actually going to go in the body will be this part here, okay? Well, and our nav stuff. But anyway, okay, so that's good. Now what I want to do is a couple things. If you remember, when you open up Dreamweaver and you have it automatically make a web page for you, it puts more information up here than what we're currently seeing, okay? So this is generally good practice to do. When you write your page, you want to tell the browser what language that you're writing this in, because you know how sometimes you go on sites and you can actually have it translate for you, like if it's in Spanish it'll translate to English. So I need to tell it what language. Now I could just do like language lang and then make it English, but that would be hard coded and that would work fine for my site because I'm going to be working in English. But if for some reason you're making this and giving it to somebody else and they speak German or something, or write German more, then you would want this to be dynamic. And because it's WordPress, the whole point is to make it dynamic. So we're actually just going to use PHP to automatically fill this in for us, okay? So I'm just going to like this, PHP, and then we're going to say language. This is a built-in function, underscore attributes, parentheses, and then we're just going to close out like that, okay? So now it's going to do HTML, and then it's going to run this PHP code in here. And that's actually going to go ahead and tell us what our English is, okay? Or tell what the language is. So for instance, if I'm in here, and if I go to the more developer, let's do inspector, you can see, let's see, oops, let's refresh this. All right. I swear it's not saving. Save. Oh, it's not running the header yet. That will run that part. Let's go ahead and have this header actually function. So I'm just going to go ahead and after body, just put in like a P and say this is the head, just so that I know that it's working. Okay. So this will be my head. I'm just going to go ahead and save it. But it's not actually being loaded up because what it does is it runs page. So in order for it to run the header before it runs this page, I need to tell it to. So right after the PHP, I'm going to use a PHP function to tell it to load the header. So it's real easy. Just right after this, we're going to go like this, and you're going to go get underscore, because we're already in PHP because we opened up there, get header, like that, and it's a function, and save it. And now if we go in here and Command R, there you go. So now it says this is head. Okay, so this is the head. And if you look, you can see right here, it automatically, if you remember before, that wasn't there. It automatically went ahead and put language English US. Okay, so that's what that little bit of code was doing. It's just going to go ahead in the header here. It's just going to go ahead and put the language attributes for us. Okay, now the other thing I want to put in here, there's a couple things I need to put in here. is some metadata stuff. So inside of the head, we usually have different metadata, right? So one of the ones that we need is the character set. Okay, so basically it lets the browser know what I'm writing, what language I'm, not what language, what keyboard buttons I'm making, like the characters that I'm using. So again, it's going to be English, or UTF-4, I think it is. But I don't want to hard code it. So we're going to go ahead and do a meta, and it's going to be char set. And then instead of hard coding it, instead of hard coding it here, I'm just going to go ahead and put PHP. So we're going to like this, PHP. All right, PHP. And then there's just one already built into it, blog info. And bad at spelling, blog info. Okay. Semicolon, space. And then just make sure that I close it. Okay. And then inside of here, inside this blog info, let me see, character set. Oh, I got to close this too. Okay, good. There you go. So I got the opening and closing of the PHP. And inside the blog info, I need to tell it what I want, and what I want is the char set. Okay. And I'm just going to save that. Go back over here, Command R. And open it up, and there you go. See, it automatically knows that it's UTF-8, not 4. Sorry. So that just says basically what kind of alphabet I'm using. Okay, how I'm typing it in. All right, that's good. Now another thing that we're doing, if you remember, in our functions here, we're using Bootstrap. Now this will load in the Bootstrap for us, and that's fine and dandy. But what it will not do is it's not going to do this part of it. If you remember, in order for Bootstrap to work, it needs to have server and header. It needs to have that meta tag that for the viewport that sets the initial width and height of the scale of the browser window, right? So we need to add that meta as well. And this is actually, we're just going to hard code. So it's meta name equals, and it's going to be viewport, and then content. All right, and then it's width. Dash device dash width. I feel like that's right. Dash width. And that is one aspect of it. Width, I think it's width is equal to device width. I think it's that. I'll have to double check. Hang on a second. And then the initial hyphen scale, we're going to set that equal to 1. Okay. And this is necessary in order for this to in order for it to be responsive. If we don't put this in here, it will struggle, it won't work correctly. So I'm just going to save that. I'm going to double check that this is what this is supposed to be. All right, yeah, I was right. That is what it is. Okay. Okay. So that's good. And then we need one other thing, which is going to seem kind of weird, but we need to go into PHP. Oops, I thought I did. There we go. PHP. And we're going to do WP underscore head. And then, so basically what this does is it says anything that you need to run in the head, go ahead and let this WordPress have the last say. So basically this is going to be kind of like a final check that more or less the WordPress is going to look through and execute anything that it needs to. It's kind of like when you write a script, you usually write it at the bottom so that it can run through everything. Same basic idea. Okay, that's everything that needs to go inside the head. And now what I want to do is the stuff underneath. Okay, so inside of my body, I want to do this. So I want to add another thing here, because right now, if you look, when I refresh this, so you'll notice that the site, it says cone site, blah, blah, blah. Look, this isn't the tab name, the title here kind of blows. It's not super great. It'd be better if it was more, like you see up here on mine, when I'm on my site, see how it says like the name of the page and like this? not this file path. That's not really what we want. So we're going to add basically something that's going to allow that to happen. But in order for us to load that up, we actually have to add more to our functions here. So we already built all of this, and this is great. But I would like to add another bit here. So we're going to go ahead and make we're going to add another function, okay? And this one I'm going to call theme_features. And basically, I'm going to use this function to load up some theme features, things that I want my theme to be able to do, okay? Now, I need to make a hook, if you remember, the thing that's going to allow it to, let's just actually do it like this. That's going to allow it, that's going to tell it when to run. So we're going to go ahead and do an add action, okay? And the action, let's go ahead and put a semicolon on the end. The actions I want to run is basically, I want it to run, after _setup_theme. So after the theme is set up, and this is the function I want to run, which is going to be theme features. That's the name I gave it up there. So theme_features. Okay, so it's going to run, not them, theme features after the theme is set up. Okay, so this function, that's when it's going to run. All right. Now, what do I want it to run? I want it to do this. I want to do _add theme_support. And the thing I want it to run is going to be the title-tag. Okay. So what that's going to do is it's going to give it it's going to change that name for us. Okay. But that alone is not going to be enough. So you need to put this in here. That alone will not be enough. We actually also on our page, page here, I'm going to have to put it in here as well. So basically, get in there. Okay. What am I doing? There we go. And here, you're going to do body_class semicolon. Oh, I got to put this in PHP. Sorry. So PHP body class is what it's going to run. And then boom, boom. Okay. And then if we save it, so basically I open up PHP, close out of PHP, and then inside of it, I'm telling it inside of this body tag to run body class. And then I'll save that, make sure I save this one too. And then if we go back to the site and I refresh it, you'll see that now that name is good. And also, because that actually does a couple of things. The other thing that it's going to do, this part here, where am I? Here we go. This one, this body class. What this does is it actually makes class names on your site, and you can use those with your CSS to select items. So now you'll notice that, let me close this one up. See how it added page template, default page, page ID 5, logged in, blah, 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 all this other stuff in here. That is extra stuff that it added in. So it adds classes for us so that we can select those elements, okay? Which is nice. All right. Okay. So next what we want to do is basically add our nav bar, okay? I am going to go ahead and put that in the next video because I don't want this to get too long. But basically what we're going to do is we have a basic setup of a footer, and the footer runs right here. So you can see right here it says, let me close out of this. It says this is the head, right? So that's our header. We're going to put different content in here. And what I can do is, but if I go to, oh, this one doesn't have it set up for index. If I go to a different page, all right, let me log into WP. There we go. If I open up a different page, let's say sample page, and let's go ahead and I guess preview. You can see this also has it. So all of my pages will have that header now, okay? So that will be consistently in all of them, regardless of which one I put in there. But what I want is not have it just be that stupid thing, because that's kind of lame. So what we're going to do is we're going to make, as soon as this is able to figure this out, we're going to go ahead and make that next in the next video, all right? We're going to go ahead and put the nav bar in.